Hey, it's Mike over at fishyourassoff.com, and today what we're talking about is red fishing with mud minnows. Mud minnows are excellent baits for catching redfish. They're usually pretty easy to catch too. You know, you're in some sort of tidal creek ecosystem or they wouldn't be there, you know, so mud flats or around Spartina grass or oysters or some tidal creek, you know, and you'll see them all right up there, you know, against it. And this is one of those where a cast net works fine, but usually the oysters will cut it up, but a seine net works pretty well if you have a decent sized seine net where you can kind of trap them up against the shore. But if you can get hold of mud minnows, they're great. They are a super hardy fish. You know, a lot of baits you use, live baits, aren't live baits very long. You know, they just can't take the constant casting and bumping. They're dead. So now your live baits that you spent so much time getting is now a dead bait, and it doesn't work the same. Mud minnows are not like that at all. I have caught those things and had them flop out in my John boat, and the next day find them alive and kicking in just about an inch of water because there was some water in the John boat, so they didn't even die. I mean, these things are tough. I'm telling you right now, they are tough. But let's just talk about how to rig them up, because that's what I think most people do incorrectly, is the way they rig them and how they fish them. So, first of all, a lot of people will just, where's my jigs? We'll just take a jig like this, okay? And just lip hook them, you know, at the point of the hook like this, so it's more weedless. You don't want to hook down because the fish is going to stay, you know, normal like they normally would in their horizontal way. They're not going to swim upside down. So you want the hook to come in under like this, so the point is like this, right? Just like this shows you, up and over, right? Just like that, and you fish them like a jig. So you will just pitch them up to the whatever. Say you're fishing docks. You pitch them up there and you just kind of barely move them. Great way to catch flounder too. Great way to catch flounder. This exact setup right here. Redfish, flounder, a black drum. It's another good one for it. And you just barely moving it and twitching it. Kind of dragging it on the bottom. Great way to catch redfish with mud minnows. Another one is to simply pitch them out with a little split shot. You know, just enough to kind of slow them down, and they're going to drag it a little bit, but just keep them kind of slow, make it easier for the redfish to catch them, and just you know, have them going. I mean, my favorite way to do it, this technique right here, is, so I'm in a tidal creek of someplace, right? And say there's a cut between you know, like a mud flat here, a oyster bar here, a mud flat, or Spartina grass, mud flat. You get the idea, where there's a you know, the things that they like, which are the grasses, the oysters, the mud flat. You have some sort of confluence of these things where it forces them and funnels the redfish to you. You know, it's a channel or a cut between those two things. And you take your mud minnow and you just pitch it up current with the split shot. You can do it with this too. You can do it with this too. But you pitch it up current and you just work it back the same speed as the current. Just kind of bouncing / dragging it on the bottom. Excellent way. With the current though, with the current. Because these predators are waiting for fish to come to them. So they're almost always facing up current. But that is an excellent way to fish with the split shot. And a popping cork. You know, popping corks aren't just for, you know, gulp products or a live shrimp. You know, you get yourself a popping cork of some sort. You know, that just like this, and cast it up. You pitch it up against up current again. Here's another one, more subtle. Rattles are inside of it instead. But you have this, and you got your leader here, and just enough to keep that mud minnow off of the bottom, because you don't want them getting wrapped around oyster clumps, because you're going to cut your line. You don't want to get them caught in the grass. You don't want any of those things. But this is a great way to catch redfish using mud minnows, is with a popping cork. They're so much easier to control the mud minnow, because they'll wrap you up around everything there is if you let them. So they're hard. They're kind of hard to fish on the bottom like that, because they tend to go straight to some sort of cover. But this is a great way to stop that. And the way you would fish with these is you would, the way I fish with them is, I love fishing this way too, is when you have a line of Spartina grass or whatever grass is on the side of your tidal creek, you get a pitch up current to it and just kind of work it down that whole line of grass, because there's all kinds of things there. The redfish will be there and the flounder will be there especially, and you just work that minnow. You don't let them get into the grass, and you got your leader short enough where you can't dig down and wrap you up on anything either. I'm telling you, that is a great way to catch redfish with mud minnows. Mud minnows are excellent baits. Excellent baits. If you can get them, they're excellent baits. Like I said, they're very hardy, and you'll catch a ton of redfish with them. But these are the only 3 techniques I've ever used. I mean, there might be more, but those work just fine. So there's really no sense in, did I cover everything? Yeah. Yeah, so that's what you want to do. You know, it's really about finding a choke point when you're using these mud minnows. You know, I'm always looking for a cut between 2 oyster bars, or mud flat, or a tidal creek where everything's forced to come to me. I mean, that is just such a great setup if you can get it up in these ecosystems where you're going to have these mud minnows. I mean, it doesn't really, you know, bringing mud minnows to a place where there's no mud minnows, it probably doesn't work that well. But, you know, when you're catching mud minnows and they're right there and that's what they're eating, you know, that is a great bait. But I think that's it. I just wanted to cover, you know, really catching redfish using mud minnows and such, because so many people think shrimp. Mud minnows work great. But you can learn more of this right on our website. Just go to www.fishyourassoff.com. There's a how-to section on, I mean, there's all kinds of information there. The whole site is set up to help fishermen catch more fish. So that's why you're watching this video. So that's why you should go there. But I think that's it for today. So until next time, we'll see you then. All right. Bye-bye.